Welcome to Off Script with me, Tara from Earth, reporting live from Earth while trying to stay chill and regulated on a not-so-chill planet. This space is for inspiring conversations around consciousness, connection, embodiment, future self-alignment, and becoming the creator of your reality within the human experience, without pretending any of it is neat or linear. So, let's embody the future together. Hi everybody, welcome to Off Script with me, Tara from Earth. This is my first podcast and I'm a little nervous about it, not gonna lie. I have been making content for off and on for 5 years and I kind of take a lot of breaks. I take a lot of breaks from YouTube and I've just been called to step back in. So be patient with me. This podcast will be evolving over time. This is just starting. Hopefully I can maybe inspire others to just start what you feel called to, what you feel aligned to. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have the perfect setup, the perfect equipment, but just start. And this is really pushing me out of my comfort zone. Podcasts are just different. There's a different energy to them. So yeah, I'm excited and hopefully excited for others to join me on my cozy couch where we can have some inspiring conversations. So I've been on a conscious spiritual journey for over 10 years now. And my goal is really to help people get back to their truth, to cut through the distortion and cut through even the spiritual ego, the spiritual fluff, the escapism, and to really reconnect people with their true sovereignty for true ascension. My work lives at the intersection of multidimensional energy work, future self-alignment, storytelling, conscious media, branding, and just creator expansion. But really at the core of it, it's just helping people return to who they really are. Throughout this podcast, I will be sharing a lot of my experiences in the spiritual world and the spiritual community, things that have helped me or not helped me on my own healing journey, things that I've witnessed over the last decade in spiritual spaces, things I believe are missing, and where I really feel consciousness is evolving, even beyond spirituality. A lot of people right now want expansion without loss. A lot of people want to bring in higher timelines without full surrender. A lot of people want transformation without the discomfort. But true ascension really requires full surrender, full embodiment, full polarity, responsibility, and just the willingness to allow all old identities dissolve. So yeah, we're going to talk about all of it. We're going to talk about the spiritual ego. We're going to talk about bypassing the love and light culture, the addiction we have to comfort, our relationships, connections, and the patterns that keep people believing that they are growing while they are just really staying trapped in the same cycles. So this is a space for honest conversations about consciousness, creation, embodiment, and what it really takes to become the creator of your reality and what it actually takes to embody New Earth. So I know that was kind of a long intro, but I just really want to set the tone for myself too, to know what I have to work with moving forward. And like I said, this is going to continue evolving. But yeah, that's kind of the heart of what I'm getting at. So to really begin, I just kind of want to talk about what I'm actually seeing as consciousness accelerates. People are opening, people are waking up, and awareness is expanding. And more people are realizing, oh, they're intuitive, they're psychic, they're powerful, they're connected. But at the same time, there are some very real distortions that are happening inside all of that. And it needs to be talked about. This is the stuff that I don't think very many people talk about. People talk about the shadow work, the inner work, the healing, but no one really wants to talk about where we are moving away from truth within spirituality. Where is it becoming a simulation? Where is it becoming not so authentic anymore? And these are problems I see as I live here in Austin and just all over the world. And through connection on social media, I'm seeing the performance, the simulation of spirituality, and why it's actually keeping people trapped and looped in their own cycles and within their own matrix. And I'm going to be talking a lot about that. So I'm going to try not to go off on that right now. We all want creation without really fully understanding the true destruction creation requires. And we all want the new identity, the new timeline, the healed world, the expanded version of myself, the purpose, the mission, without really letting the current version of ourselves fully dissolve and surrender to that. And the biggest thing that I've really noticed is just the lack of containment and structure within the spiritual field, the attachment that people still have to identity, to their spiritual ego. So it's people who are performing spirituality without actually embodying it. And it can really look deceiving, right? It looks like they know the language, the knowledge. They can post the quotes, they can wear the outfits, the aesthetic. They can show off their sexuality. They can understand the concepts, but true spirituality is actually living when it's uncomfortable, when it really challenges you, when it requires you to change. It's who you are in between those moments. It's who you are when you're at home by yourself. There's this whole aspect of spirituality that is so imperfect and it's so dirty and disgusting and gross. And it's the part of yourself that is hard to look at. It's hard to look at that version of you in the mirror because you are wanting to hide from it. Just true spirituality, even beyond, is just living in the true grit of what it means to be a human and the parts of yourself that are not seen by the world. Who are you in your apartment, in your home? Who are you without the spiritual mask, without the knowledge, without the spiritual label? Who are you? And that is a terrifying question to the ego, and especially the spiritual ego is asking, who am I? Who am I without all this knowledge? Who am I without the pretty aesthetics and all my crystals and my goddess label or whatever the fuck your label is? Who are you? And that is something that I am here to help talk about, help walk us through, is shedding and being okay not knowing who you are, not knowing who you're becoming. So we love to attach ourselves to spirituality because it gives us an identity. It tells us who we are. It tells us what our purpose is, what our mission is. Oh, I'm a starseed. I'm a goddess. I'm an oracle. I'm a shaman. I'm a medicine healer. And you couldn't be so much further from who you really are. And I think that is why we aren't going to see very many spiritual people take that next step into shedding those identities. But I am here to challenge you. I'm here to challenge others on a spiritual path, other light workers, healers, or anybody who feels called to be a pillar of light. I'm here to really challenge you and ask you, who are you without all your labels? Who are you without all your tools, all your pretty accessories, your altars? Who are you without all of that? Because that's when you really start remembering, and that's when your true power does come online. And this has been a big part of my own journey. I have had to let go of everything outside of me to come back to who I am. And I allow myself to wake up every day in curiosity, wake up not knowing who I am or what I'm going to do that day, but always knowing that I'm the creator, that I can create whatever I want. But in order to create, you have to destruct. You have to also sit in the unknown and sit in the discomfort of not knowing what you are becoming or what you are about to create. You are not going to be able to love and light your way into a new reality. You cannot avoid conflict, avoid truth, avoid parts of yourself that still need to be integrated. And that's the thing. You cannot create something new while protecting everything that currently exists. I have seen that people chase the highs, and people are constantly still chasing highs. They still chase the breakthroughs, they chase the activations, they chase the next level, the next identity, without really slowing down enough to actually integrate what they've already opened, what's already there, what's already within them. So people are expanding really fast, but no one has the actual capacity or the containment to hold it. So I think true ascension, true spirituality, it comes in those in-between moments, in the spaces where you are allowing yourself to forget who you are, to not know who you are, not know where you're going, and to sit in the void. We have to be willing to sit in the void of ourselves. That is actual spirituality. A lot of spiritual people just can't sit in their own discomfort. They can't sit in the void. They can't sit in the unknown of who they are without attaching some sort of language or intellectual spiritual knowledge or esoteric wisdom to why they are doing what they're doing. Instead of just surrendering the mind and allowing themselves to be uncomfortable, allowing just the parts of your identity to fall away, even when it doesn't feel good. Right now, the biggest thing I'm seeing are spiritual people living from the mind and not the heart. They know how to intellectualize emotions so well where they can easily convince themselves that they've done the work, that they are healed, that they are embodied, that they, are enlightened. And it is just so much further from the truth. And what's scary is a lot of these people are the ones who have the biggest platforms. When you filter spirituality through the mind, you are only creating a new matrix itself. It's a matrix that I call the phantom matrix. And that is exactly what is happening right now in spirituality and new wave spirituality. It's all being created through the mind and not the heart. For those who are really here for true ascension, true alignment, and true sovereignty, we have to up our game with discernment. We have to constantly be a pillar of truth so that we can see through the facade of that spirituality has become, because so many of these people still don't want to do the work. They still don't want to feel uncomfortable in their bodies, so they leave. They leave their body. They leave to go to the next retreat. They leave to go to the next ceremony. They leave to go to the next festival or ecstatic dance. They're waiting. They're just chasing that next high. They are avoiding their own discomfort, what their own heart is telling them. So many people I see are chasing their soul family. They are chasing the highs, the biggest parties, being around the people with the most followers, the most influencers, and they are chasing all the shiny spiritual things outside of themselves without looking within, without actually sitting in their own discomfort, sitting in the void, sitting with their own heart, with their own body. What is their nervous system actually telling them? I think the biggest problem right now is what people are calling growth is just easily a more refined version of the same patterns. And that's what I'm seeing. That is what I'm seeing on social media, in the collective, in spiritual communities. And there's not real work being done because they don't want to look, they don't want to feel. Because why would you want to feel when there's so many pretty fun things outside of you, like drugs? Most of them are going to be afraid of this spiritual identity collapse. And instead of seeing that collapse as a part of the spiritual process, they're going to resist it. They're going to avoid it. They are going to just rebuild kind of the same identity in just a slightly more evolved way. And I'm not saying this from a place of judgment. This is just coming from my own experience and things that I've seen in other people and things I've dealt with myself when I didn't want to let go of certain spiritual identities. But the truth is, real ascension is about shedding identities, and it's about continuously dying every single day. And that is what I have learned on my journey, is to wake up in curiosity, to not know who you are. And because I've gotten so comfortable with that, I am able to live a more fulfilling life as the creator of my own reality. I no longer wake up and go, oh, I'm a healer. Time to save the world. I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. I don't care if the world gets saved. Like that's where I'm at. And that has taken years of sitting with myself to finally get to this point where I no longer attach to my purpose, to my mission, to my label, to my spiritual identity. And even when you think you have landed and you're enlightened and you're like, I'm fully healed and this is me now, think again. Think again. Trust me, think again. So it's just about how deeply you are willing to let things change within yourself and with your outside world. It's about being honest. It's about being willing to sit in the discomfort and sit in that void, that unknowing of who you are. And it's just about allowing all parts of your identity to fall away, even when it doesn't feel good, even the spiritual ones. So letting go of who you were in a past life, letting go of all the labels and fluffy names that people give themselves. It's just time to let it go. It's time to let these identities, these boxes go, to break free from all of them so that you can truly be liberated and truly become more whole with who you really are, with the multidimensional aspects of who you really are. Once you are able to wake up every day not knowing who you are, not knowing what you're about to create, not knowing who you're going to become, you hold all the power in the world. And that's what I practice every single day. So these are just some topics I'm going to be talking about over the next few months. I think they're really important. I think it's important to talk about what's happening with spirituality, with new wave spirituality, where people are lacking accountability, avoiding their own truth, where they are chasing the glittery, shiny, spiritual aesthetic outside of them without actually embodying or going deeper within themselves. And yeah, so with that, I just want to leave you with this. Where are you avoiding discomfort? What are you calling alignment, but is actually fear? And the final question: what identity of yours is asking to be dissolved? And I know that's a really hard question for everybody. That's a hard question for me, but I do it every day. I do that work every single day. And it doesn't mean the identity is going to dissolve right away, but having awareness over your identities, you have power over your identities, and you are able to shift and maneuver, and you are able to call in more of who you really are. And that is what's going to get you back to your truth. Thank you so much for hanging on and joining me on my first podcast. It will be evolving over time, looking different, feeling different as I just continue to get my flow. But I am super excited to start this journey because I just have so much to share. And so thank you for being here. I also make a ton of content on Instagram, TikTok, or if you are looking for any other type of support, I also offer one-on-one coaching and remote multidimensional energy sessions. So you can book with me at terrafromearth.com. I will see you next time.